President Cindy, fellow Lions and guests, it is my pleasure today to introduce my boss, Dr. Dan Zorn. Dan has served as superintendent of the Longview School District, serving about 6,400 students since July 1st. As superintendent, Dan is responsible basically for all operations of the organization, $75 million budget, and roughly 900 employees. Before coming to Longview, he served 16 years as assistant superintendent of Kalispell, and that's in Montana for some of you who don't know your geography very well. I have the mic. You have the mic, it's going to my head. He was there for 16 years. He coordinated curriculum development, helped supervise administrators, served as lead negotiators in contract talks, and led facilities planning subcommittees, all tasks that are serving him well in his job now. His background, he worked as an elementary school principal, elementary school teacher, and high school coach. He began his education career in 1985. Dan and his wonderful wife, Anne Marie, are the proud parents of 4 adult children, and he has 2 grandsons. So with that, I'm going to turn you over to Dan, who's going to tell you about what is going to be on the February 13th ballot.
Thanks, Sandy. I appreciate that. Are we?
I'm gonna click.
Well, you're gonna click. All right, that's great. So apparently Sandy grabbed my resume before she came over here, and I thought that was quite an introduction. I don't usually get that. So I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. Before I get started, though, I do want to thank you. It was mentioned about the work that you're doing with Columbia Heights and providing the books up to kids at Columbia Heights and helping fill the void that was left when the RIF program disbanded in Longview. And literacy is an incredibly important piece of the work that we're doing in the Longview schools, and frankly it's the most important thing that we do is to teach our kids to read and write well, and in your support of those efforts, I just can't thank you enough, and I've been so impressed by the whole community's response to that, and in particular what the Lions are doing along those lines, and that particular attention to our kids with our kids that are blind, that's just a real nice touch there. So I do want to thank you for that before I get out of here today. So what I'm going to talk with you about are a couple levy requests that are coming up on February 13th. What I want to begin with is, please don't confuse this with the bond request that came out in November. These are very different purposes. This is levies are one way the state has given us to be able to get us the funds to be able to operate the day-to-day kind of needs of our school district. Where in November the bond that failed was really specific to building needs that we have in terms of new construction and the like. So this is a different piece. We're going to come back to the bond discussion later this spring as we regroup as a board in the school district. But our levy needs are coming up. So what we have on the ballot will be actually 2 levy requests. One is an operations and educational programs levy, and then another is our capital projects and tech levy. Those will both be on the bonds. What I want to really just clarify with these levy requests, that these are replacement levies. They're not new levies. These are replacements of levies that are in place right now. What happens is these levies expire on December 31st of 2018, and so there's some very essential money that we get collected in this manner, that if without passage of the levies coming up in February, we will not have access to those funds after December 31st of 2018. So this is a replacement of those levies and kind of a continuation of those. And our levies are something that we've just been very fortunate and very appreciative of Longview's support of our levies for quite some period of time. Basically what these levies do is they bridge the gap between what the state and federal governments provide local school districts and what the actual cost it is to be able to run our schools in a manner that our, that our community is used to, and in terms of being able to provide those services for our kids. We're not talking about frills. These are not things that are extras or just kind of would like tos. These are have to needs for us in terms of our ability to continue to provide the service that we presently provide our students. So we are talking about essential services. So when you start thinking about, well, what is the Levy Help Fund within our system? On the operations and educational program side, it's a lot of our instructional needs that are out there. It's buying special education teachers, special education paraprofessionals that provide just essential services to our kids. I will tell you that our special education needs as a district are increasing, and actually our actual costs are well over $2 million more than we're funded by the state for those needs. And so the needs are great, they're growing, and so we continue to have those needs, and that makes sure that we're able to meet our students' learning needs. It also jumps in to the regular education realm and teachers that we need to be able to fill out our staffing, keep our class sizes down, to be able to offer the programs that it is that we offer our kids at our middle and high school level, and then also obviously at the elementary level when you start looking at intervention needs and things like that. It also helps fund our counselors and to be able to meet those social emotional needs of our kids. We have a student population, about 60% of our kids are coming from some sort of form of poverty, and so some financially stressed homes, and that has quite an impact on our kids, and so there's a lot of needs that go along with that. With our levy, we also are purchasing custodial staffing. Again, what the state provides and their formulaic piece that they provide does not cover the square footage cleaning needs that we have to be able to keep our buildings clean and ready to go for learning each day. I talked a little bit about paraprofessionals earlier. Another area is our athletic programs. Our athletic programs, we receive no funding from the state or the federal government for athletic programs. So all of our coaches, all of our equipment needs, all of the travel, all the things that go along with operating our athletic programs come through this local levy request, as does a portion of our staff training, professional development that we provide, some of our classroom material needs, and then also looking at some of our other extracurricular clubs, marching bands, those kinds of needs all come from that locally voted levy. So again, what I hope that you see from that is that we're really talking about essential services to be able to, just to continue to provide what it is we need to be able to provide our kids on a day-to-day basis in terms of providing them a quality education. From a cost standpoint, we're in the process, there's a transition going on with the new school funding model, and as a result of that, there's, beginning in 2019, there's some limits placed on how much that we can request from a local levy standpoint. Those limits are new and were not in place prior to that. So what this chart just shows is kind of looking at what we're looking at over the 2 years of our operations and educational programs levy. Presently, you were assessed $3.23 per $1,000 of assessed value through the local levy. That raises about $15.5 million. Beyond 2019, according to legislation that was passed in July 17, barring that there's no changes made in that, but what we know right now is we can only assess up to $1.50 per thousand. So for us, that's actually about a half of the amount that we have raised in the past through this local levy. That's how much we're able to raise now through that. So it is quite a decrease in what the request has been that you've seen in the past. What's happening in the new model, and I've got a chart later that hopefully will kind of frame this up for you, is that the state is providing a greater portion of the needs that we have to put less of a burden on the local taxpayer and the local property owner. And so that's kind of the theory behind the new school funding model. So that kind of gives you a little bit of a feel for that. 2018, as we come up, we have the state adjustments will be made in 2018, and then what happens in the end of 2018, our levies expire, and then the new levies will come into place in 2019. And again, I've got a chart here at the end that'll kind of give you a feel for what the total implications are of that. So that's the one levy. So it's looking at our operations and our educational programs, those essential services we have to be able to meet the needs of our kids. The other levy is also a replacement levy, and this is for capital projects and technology needs. So it's exactly that, the capital projects piece. This is the upkeep and maintenance of our buildings to help extend the life of the schools that we have. I'll tell you, in our bond request, we got a lot of input, and actually got some input from this group when I came back, when I spoke to you last, were questions about, are we investing as much as we should be in our capital projects, so that we're making sure that we're extending the life of our schools as much as we possibly can and keeping them functional for as long as we can. You know, very similar to the work that you do in your homes. As a result of that, we are asking a little more in our capital projects than we have in the past, because we felt presently we put about $1.25 million per year into capital projects. We're asking for $1 million increase in terms of our ability to be able to raise that. We additionally presently take $500,000 out of our general fund and transfer that over into capital projects to get us to that $1.25 million. And we have a need to keep that $500,000 in our general fund to help with all those educational needs as well. So that $500,000 is in that capital projects request as well. So when you're looking at what is the capital projects by, for us it's safety and security upgrades, making sure that, you know, that our buildings are safe, that we've got, that they're accessible, that there's, you know, that we're taking care of all the flooring and those kinds of needs to assure that. Our roof replacements, we have to pay a lot of attention to that. You're just walking out there today, there's a lot of rain, and so we're always in the process of keeping those updated. Boiler repairs, replacement, electricity upgrades, all those kinds of things, lighting upgrades that go on with that, concrete repairs as we work throughout the district, and then also looking at our grounds maintenance work that needs to be done. One area that again came out pretty loud and clear in our bond request was need for athletic facility upgrades and helping with that. We have been in the process of studying our athletic facility needs, and they are many and they are vast all over the district. And so one of our intentions with our capital projects fund is to begin putting more money into our athletic facility upgrades to make sure that they remain viable facilities district-wide for us as well. So that's something that we haven't done a lot of in the past at all, but we know that it's just getting to a critical point right now that we make sure that we do that. From the technology side, these funds help, they supply the computers that we need for our kids, for our teachers, all the infrastructure in terms of our network needs, our wireless access that we have. We do a lot of work with Chromebooks. They're little kind of $300 devices, individual devices, laptops that we put on carts and move them around to our kids to get them access. It's just more and more just a way of doing business within our schools and how instruction is provided and how our kids learn. So trying to stay current with that. So a good portion of the capital projects and tech goes in to those areas also. You also start getting into some of the communication needs with intercom systems, phone systems. All of that kind of stuff is also funded through the technology portion of that capital projects and tech levy. From a cost standpoint, as I said before, we're looking at, in the past, we've raised, combined between the capital projects and tech, $1.5 million per year. Our request is to increase that to $3 million per year so that we can pump more money into the capital project side and make sure that we're taking care of that capital investment that the community has made in our facilities. And you can see there is an increase on that cost per thousand that is attached to the capital projects. Is about a 30-cent per thousand increase that you would see as a result of that. But if you look at the next chart, kind of takes a look at a total look at the tax implications of what we're looking at over the next 4 years, although we're going back a year, so it's really over the next 3 years. If you look at that first chart, that takes a look at the year that just got completed, and there's 3 different colors. The light blue is our capital projects and tech levy. So we have been levying 32 cents per thousand. The medium blue is the operations and educational programs levied $3.32 per thousand. That's what has been approved previously by the Longview community. And then the state levies $2.14, and that's done statewide. Every property in the state that is assessed, and so that's how the state primarily raises the money that is then dispersed out to districts formulaically. What you see in the change in the legislation is they go into 2018, as I described earlier, the state is going to begin collecting more. And so that rate goes up to $2.95 for that 1 year period of time. The capital projects and tech levy and the educational programs and operations levy remains relatively the same. A little bit of an adjustment because of an assessed value increase that we're looking at. But then you look into 2019, and that's when you see the full impact of the changes in the law that was passed in 2017. So if you look at that medium blue, that local levy drops to $1.50 per thousand, where it used to be $3.23. So the total tax impact, if you look at 2017 to 2019, is actually a net decrease of about 70 cents per thousand. Now again, that's based upon the law that was passed in July. And that's how we have done our estimates as we work forward. We don't anticipate there will be changes, but there could be. You just don't know when you're dealing with the legislature. So that's kind of where we're at in terms of that impact. So with that, you should see ballots here pretty quick. Probably the end of this week or early next week, they should be arriving in your mailboxes. They're due by February 13th. Would just really encourage you to vote and be involved in that. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to call the district office. You can get on our website at longviewschools.com. There's a lot of information there that you can jump in. There'll also be a mailer that will be going out the end of this week. That will include some information about work going on in the district, but the insert in the middle of it is specifically related to the levy request also, so that there's some information there with that as well. So, did I cover it, Sandy? All right, so that's kind of, I have to check with Sandy. So she says I'm her boss. You guys know that's really the other way around. So are there questions? Yes, sir.
This is something that was brought up before, and I think it's worth trying to sell the community on this again. It is a fact that it costs less money to educate students in one building rather than two. And I think the idea of going back to one high school, we sell the community on less cost, is worth it.
And I appreciate your thoughts there. That does not enter into this at all. Yes, it could on the back end, but this has, again, this is very separate from the bond request. This is a whole different kind of piece with that, but I appreciate that. Yep. Yes, sir.
How many buildings are you trying to support?
We're 9, 3, 12, 15. Yeah, 15. Then you got our MOTF in, let's call it 17. Yeah, it's 15 schools. Yeah. Yeah. Other questions? Are you sure? Come on. Again, I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. If you do have questions that you didn't want to ask now, just give us a call. Run Sandy down, run me down. We'd be happy to answer those questions. My email address, if you just go dzorn@longview.k12.wa.us, it'll get you right to me if you want to do an email. Phone 575-7016. And I'd be happy, if you're part of another group, I'd be happy to come and talk to that group as well. We're in process of getting out to as many people as we can right now to inform them about the levy request that's coming up. All right? Thank you very much. I sure appreciate all you do.
Thank you very much for presenting
Thank you.
this. Have a cup.
All
and
right.
an application. If you join my group.
All right.
And it's dropped.
There's that new mic. Yeah.
Oops, sorry guys. Okay, review of announcements. George has the educational sign up for Columbia Heights that starts at 9 o'clock Monday morning. There's a board meeting this Thursday, 7 a.m. at Bob Paul's. Bill Pontius says there's no recycling this week. Bill, is there some next week?
If they choose to participate.
If you choose to participate. Carrie Ann has a meeting this Thursday, 5:30 at the Bill Moore Building? Gilmore. And it's on the corner of Broadway and Commerce.
That's Bill's brother.
At 5:30. And the golf tournament has been changed to July 13th, and there's some visitation sign-ups over there if you so choose. So now we go to the blue ticket. Oh, senility. I had a senility.
President Cindy, Lions and Guests, couple of malcontents today. Russ, get your quarter out. And Johnston, you get your quarter out.
All right.
Pontius is good?
Okay.
Let me rephrase that.
We have a blue ticket. The number is 378746. And Greg Firth has it. Are you coming up with the cards? Greg Firth has the draw today. Dum, 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 dum. So the pot is at how much?
194.
194.50.
600. Can't be terrible.
And that's oh, so sorry. Okay, red ticket. We have 6839963. 63. Who has 63? Oh, right here. Where would you like that money to go to? White Cane. Thank you. And we have bakery. Donna has the draw today. Steve Johnson. And Mark Kelch. Woohoo. Okay, and with that, our meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.